No Bigfooters or Sasquatch were harmed during the filming of this video. Just their pride.
Hey everyone, it's time to go deep with Richard Deep. It's Deep Talk.
Good afternoon. I'm here with Rictor Riolo, the world's leading queer Bigfoot person. Thank you for joining me today, Rictor.
Sure.
So anyway, Rictor, how long you been Bigfooting?
Gosh, 10 years?
10 years. How long you been queering?
Are we going to talk about Bigfoot, or are we going to talk about me?
We're going to talk about what I want to talk about. This is my show. I'm Richard Deep. We're here on Bigfoot Talk. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. I'm Richard Deep with Deep Bigfoot Talk. Now, Rictor, thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure, Dick.
Richard, please. My first question is, how long you been Bigfoot?
Roughly 10 years.
10 years. That's a pretty good run. Now, how long you been queer?
Do you want to talk about Bigfoot, or do you want to talk about this later when you buy me a drink?
Oh, well, that ain't gonna happen, sir. I'll stick to the Bigfoot. Now, how do you collect a specimen, a DNA specimen of the Bigfoot when you're out in the field? What's your technique?
As a queer?
As a queer.
Well, first of all,
Yeah.
the human anus can stretch 4 inches, and 2 raccoons can fit right up your rectum. Those are the facts.
Those little buggers can just get anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah?
But tell me about the Bigfoot and the rectum. Okay, keep going.
Well, you asked how would I collect Bigfoot evidence. Well, generally speaking, I would probably bend over, spread my legs, bite something really hard, and pray that I get the holy grail of Bigfoot evidence the hard way.
Now, you're telling me that you're allowing Bigfoot to bugger you in the woods. Now, is that what your claim is? So please clarify. When you say you're collecting...
Oh my God. Mr. Deep, Bigfoot is big and hairy.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Okay. So, I've heard of...
How do you do this with such a straight face? How do you do this?
Now, is it true what they say about the foot and,
Well, how big is your feet?
about 10 and a half?
Oh, the answer is no.
Now,
The look on your face. Are you really 10 and a half?
I'm a 10 and
Oh, Chris. Oh, lie, brother. Let's say 13 inches.
Now, let's get back to the queering.
I've had interviews go like this.
Yeah. Now, do you think Bigfoot would come on my show? Because I've been trying to get him, can't find him, can't get a hold of him. He won't return my calls.
Funny you mention that. On my last Off the Rictor, I roasted Igor Burtsev. He's a renowned Bigfoot researcher from Russia, and he actually talked to Bigfoot on the telephone and talked about this in a Bigfoot conference.
Привет всем. That means greetings to all. Вот Дэвид Паулидис, он как раз выпустил, сейчас say some words for him.
Greetings from the United States. It's great to hear you. Thank you.
That lucky son of a bitch.
Oh? You know what Bigfoot's name is?
Yeah.
Greg.
Oh, I was going to say Jim, but...
His name is Greg.
Yeah.
And
Greg.
And I wish I was joking.
That doesn't sound right. He doesn't look
No,
like,
don't.
he doesn't look like a Gregory to me.
After everything I've shared with you, Mr. Deep, do you want to be a part of Bigfoot?
I feel like I already am. And he's a part of me. You know? I've let the love of Bigfoot enter me and come inside me.
God.
And it feels great. I'm also wondering, is Bigfoot maybe queer?
It's time for Off the Rictor, because Bigfoot is real.
Hey, my little Squatch monsters, it's time to shake up the Bigfoot community. This is Off the Rictor.
It is not easy to constantly produce Bigfoot stuff.
Because I'm gonna film one today for you, I think. Maybe not physically like as we know it, but like where you could see it really good.
Oh boy, here we go. Make sure your seats are raised and tray tables locked in the upright position. This is a show where I roast Bigfoot attention whores and hoaxers and Bigfoot superstars. Like me.
Bigfoot is like cancer, in my opinion.
Did she just say Bigfoot's like cancer? Oh, honey. Bless her heart.
No. Bigfoot is not like cancer at all.
He looked like a Neanderthal man with a lot of hair. About 800 pounds. Massive.
God! Is everyone in Bigfooting a hoaxer?
Yes.
You want your Bigfoot video to be seen? Now's your chance.
You know, believe what you want. Believe what you want, run with it. Find your evidence, get what you're doing. Just don't be a dick.
Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet. Let's be honest here, guys. I refuse to believe in Bigfoot.
So, Rictor, I have no doubts about your sincerity on this matter whatsoever. But I gotta tell you, my friend, a lot of people watching this, seeing the obviously disdain you have for the man, may think you have something, a grudge to grind.
No question.
Yep.
I don't lie. I don't hold things back. I'm probably the most honest person you've ever watched on YouTube.
Straightforward, he is.
The truth with Sasquatch lies with the Native Americans, and it's my job to point out the Bigfoot bullshit. Hey, my little Squatch monsters, this has been a long time coming. It's time to roast our favorite inbred Tennessee patriot hillbilly, the Bigfoot Hoaxer and Steve Isdall, David Paulides, MK Davis fool, Scott Carpenter. No, not the famous and respected Scott Carpenter, the astronaut. We're talking about the cross-eyed Trumper, who's definitely in outer space. This sad Forrest Gump is a walking, talking, trumping statistic.
This is not research.
He's uneducated, brainwashed, gullible, and has the IQ of a doorknob. You may recognize him as Carl Childers from the movie Sling Blade. He is an author of the absurd and is now taking it to the next level.
One of the things that kind of came to my mind that I really needed to work on was to add information about a phenomenon called mind speak.
Boomer here has made almost 500 videos of make-believe Bigfoot nonsense that are 100% embarrassing.
It's 2022, and one of my goals, I'm not going to do resolutions, is to try to get more content published this year and try to get more information out about my Sasquatch awareness program.
In fact, it's tragic to see how far down the rabbit hole this MAGA desperate Bigfooter has gone. Scott Carpenter says he sees and documents orbs, mysterious footprints in his backyard, of course, and apparently a hairy leg. Oh, and of course Bigfoot, right? a UFO, and last but not least, a Bigfoot and an alien that are following him. This is what is called schizophrenia. Now, what is schizophrenia? Well, my little Squatch monsters, it's a noun. And a long-term mental disorder involving a breakdown between thought, emotion, and behavior, leading to the faulty perception, inappropriate actions and feelings, withdrawal from reality and personal relationships into fantasy and delusion. My God, this man is documenting his own mental decline. He needs medication. He needs help.
I got hit with the mind speak, and I'm just going to relay my experience. What happened was you hear yourself talking in the voice that you talk to yourself in. In other words, when I'm thinking, everybody has that internal voice. And so that's the voice I heard. But the weird thing was, I knew it wasn't me talking.
Any normal person would tell you that it's his own imagination. He's hearing voices. I seriously think schizophrenia is running unchecked in the Bigfoot world. It makes sense.
I have to relieve myself.
To further demonstrate this, Scott Carpenter thinks he sees Bigfoot every single time he goes out into the woods for his daily hikes.
I don't seek them out. I don't, if I've got a back trail camera on because unfortunately I've opened the door. And so they follow me around and come near me and come around me.
It's as if Bigfoot is all around him, 24/7, spying on him.
Up there.
Dude, you're not the Bigfoot whisperer. What is so special about you that makes you think a mythical creature known as Sasquatch would anywhere be interested in wanting anything to do with you?
And so...
Hey Scott, you're an idiot. This is his actual quote. I think the creature we call Sasquatch Bigfoot is actually a Nephilim. A creature that was created when the fallen angels procreated with the human women. What is wrong with you people? He incorporates more Christian beliefs into Bigfoot. Watch.
Basically, your prayer is, in Jesus' name, I rebuke this creature, I rebuke this attempt to, mind speak me. And in the name of Jesus, I command you to stop. In the name of Jesus, through faith, and to stop it. And as far as I know, that's worked.
Hey Bigfoot, my name is Scott Carpenter, and I rebuke you in the name of the Jesus. Yeah. Huh? You think Bigfoot gives two shits about a man with 3 nails on a cross? Sasquatch is not Satan. This is an example of taking Native American beliefs and imposing your Western Christian values. It's cultural imperialism. Bigfoot isn't Linda Blair and you're not Father Karras. I rebuke you, Scott Carpenter. In the name of Christ, I rebuke you.
The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
Oh, but wait, there's more. This is what Scott Carpenter says. After researching the phenomenon known as the Sasquatch Bigfoot for 10 years and continually hearing the complaint, why are there no clear pictures of Bigfoot? Why are they always fuzzy? Well, I have to wonder, are these people blind or just not paying attention? Here are 5 Sasquatch I have captured on the camera over the past 10 years. They seem pretty clear to me. What's pretty clear to me is Scott Carpenter is a hoaxer. He manipulates shadows on the computer and pushes it off as Bigfoot evidence. For example, this one. Now look at what he did here. And what image does he present on his social media? This one. And people believe it because they don't understand pixelation. They don't know that the pixelation isn't consistent with the created eye and nose that he made. This is lying. He's no better than Todd Standing, and he's misleading his audience.
And like MK Davis, I just keep working it and filtering it. And I finally was able to get a filter combination where I was able to get some features, really good facial features.
Now before I give this short bus pro-insurrectionist an even bigger spanking, I keep saying this over and over again on my show. Bigfoot is belief-based, 100%. There is no body. Therefore, there is zero evidence to derive any theories from. Period. When your so-called evidence is on National Geographic, like Jane Goodall's chimpanzees, I will eat crow and I will eat my words. But there is something telling me that this is never going to happen. It's called reality. Bigfoot is not real. I think we'll add a Hall of Shame category this season and call it the biggest Bigfoot loser. And the winner is Scott Carpenter. Hey Scott, you're the biggest loser. I think it's safe to say that Scott Carpenter is a broken man. He's very fearful and easily swayed, judging by his social media. He's God-fearing, liberal-hating. He's afraid of the vaccine and scared of things he doesn't know or has the capability to understand. He's connected to Bigfoot opportunists that use men like him for their own propaganda, and I can relate to Scott Carpenter on that level. I broke free from that repetitive, misleading, and unhealthy Bigfoot world, and I now see it for what it was. A sham, where evil men and corruption run rampant with lies, with charlatans, big and small, mixed with schizophrenics, alcoholics, and drug addicts. Who does this proud son of Tennessee surround himself with? Well, for starters, it's not Cliff Barrickman from Finding Bigfoot or Idaho's Jeff Meldrum. Go to the extreme polar opposite of the Bigfoot spectrum, where you'll see Bigfoot hoaxers like those bottom feeders, Rick Dyer and Russell Accord. That's where you'll find Steve Isdall and David Paulides. You see, people like Russell Accord, Rick Dyer, David Paulides, and Steve Isdall, they need weak-minded people like me and Scott Carpenter to perpetuate their agenda. I know. I was Russell Accord's little bitch for far too long before I realized what kind of a man he was. I'm just glad his wife realized it too. She deserves better. She deserves a real man. I deserved a real brother. Hey, is this thing on? Oh my God. It's a sighting. It looks more like Homer Simpson. Not Bigfoot. I look like I'm pregnant. I am actually losing weight. I lost 15 pounds. Sociopaths like Russell Accord need uneducated people like Scott Carpenter and Rictor Riolo to believe their words, unquestionably. And so Scott shares Steve Isdall and David Paulides' YouTube content on his Facebook daily. That's all he's good for with them. Take a look at this video wall behind me. Those are all the continuous postings this sad, damaged, desperate Bigfoot man makes on a daily basis. Scott's either suffering from severe penis envy or desperately wants to be a part of the Bigfoot cool kids circle that share his extremist views because it gives his small life meaning.
The first thing I want to address is Steve Isdall and our friendship. And he really doesn't care if you hurt your feelings or not. Some people just have a hard time with that, and I love it.
This backyard researcher is only as good as what he's been told by other people.
People send me emails saying, oh, he said this to me, or people are saying, oh, he's just ripping the whole researcher community. And if you've been listening, he's not.
Meldum is a paid shield to ensure that all of you think that they're trying to chase down an unknown ape or monkey.
He thinks shadows and tree stumps are Bigfoot faces. He takes pareidolia to a whole new level.
You can actually see this is the larger picture, and this is the Sasquatch right there.
Let's talk about this ridiculous book Scott Carpenter wrote called Truth Denied. It's his take on the circus known as the Sasquatch Genome Project, which was a fraud from the very beginning. He attempts to be highbrow and injects his opinion everywhere. It is a glorified Bigfoot tabloid that puts hoaxers on pedestals and his friends as the heroes. Heroes of what, I might add? He takes Melba Ketchum's fraudulent scientific journal and makes it his own. I'm Scott Carpenter, and I've written 4 Bigfoot books. Look at this one. Can I read you a little bit? Okay, now come here, boys and girls. Uh-oh. On October 2010, an event happened that would rock the collective Bigfoot research world. A bear hunter named Justin Samaja would shoot 2 purported Bigfoot, one adult, a male, he had a pee-pee, along with 1 juvenile. Dude. They're all hoaxers. But wait, there's more. I think it's important for the reader to have all the information concerning this event. The flesh was an important piece of evidence in the Sasquatch Genome Project. The incident was also used in an attempt to discredit the Sasquatch Genome Project and destroy Dr. Ketchum's reputation. Dude. Are you kidding me? Stacy Brown Jr. and his Florida skunk ape thermal, and Justin Smaya's extraordinary story. They're both Bigfoot hoaxers. I know this because I was on the television show with them, the $10 million Bigfoot bounty reality show. It's all bullshit.
So I shot it. And we look over and we see 2 little ones, maybe about yay high. So I shot it in the neck. Didn't die right away, but it died.
What's sad is real researchers, or shall I say, people who think they're real researchers, fell for them hook, line, and sinker, like Californian Bigfooter Bart Catino, who's even mentioned in Scott Carpenter's coloring book. Most of you people have nothing but your self-inflated egos. You film people with a thermal camera who are pretending to be Bigfoot. Then you have some drunk in Washington State do a video review of your video, and that somehow gives your footage credibility? Welcome to Bigfoot. Anyway, back to this literary travesty. Check out this review by the biggest Bigfoot prick, David Paulides. A book about facts. Yeah, facts according to him. Facts are the only important element in true research, and Scott Carpenter delivered them in buttloads. Who talks like that? People who are unfamiliar with the DNA study need to read this book and follow the defined path of facts that lead to the DNA identification of Sasquatch as a hybrid human. Over 100 plus samples tested, certified labs, hair and fiber experts, all noted and described in Carpenter's book. A great read. You know what? These manipulators throw that word facts around as if they're the authority on what the truth is.
Just the facts.
It'd be a fun drinking game, actually.
Those are the facts.
And if you remember earlier in the show, David Paulides is a man who Scott Carpenter puts on a pedestal. Birds of a feather flock together.
This is where me and David Paulides were standing when two Sasquatch down in there yelled at us. And I got it on the video.
Scott, you're being played and manipulated by men that are smarter than you. Just because you hear someone yelling in the bushes doesn't mean it's Bigfoot.
And killing you's the best option, and they're gonna kill you.
Let's continue with another review of this awful book. Amateurish presentation. With regards to typos, grammar, syntax, punctuation, and vocabulary. Well, of course! A Trump supporter wrote this book. What do you think you're gonna get? When Carpenter presents what he asserts as actual facts, I find him credible. How can you? But he is not careful enough to avoid occasionally, presenting his opinions as though they were facts. And I disagree with some of those opinions. How about disagreeing with everything? Maggots like Scott don't have basic common sense to know right from wrong. And you find things he says to be in disagreement with? They also don't understand mathematics. Take a look at this clip.
That's a real good one. If you really look, you can see the left eye. You can see the sclera in the eye. See both nostrils. You can see the mouth right there. She's chewing on something.
If that was a Sasquatch, its face would be tremendous compared to the size of those leaves. Those leaves are about 2 to 3 inches long. No understanding of spatial depth, huh, Scott? He doesn't have a lick of sense.
This was later in my research. This is high def. I didn't know that this thing was standing behind me. This same day I also got a video of a ET looking thing.
So let's take a look at who Scott Carpenter is as a person. He takes great pride in being banned by Twitter. In fact, David Paulides even talked about this.
Too many people I know of have been restricted by Twitter. And censorship on Twitter is fact.
He thinks his free speech is being violated. He's regularly spreading disinformation and is constantly being fact-checked and reprimanded by Facebook. Then Ding Dong gets angry for being fact-checked. And he wants people to take his so-called Bigfoot evidence seriously? Just because he wants things to be real doesn't mean they're real. Not only is he schizophrenic, he's suffering from a suspension of disbelief. You would think by now Scott Carpenter would realize he's banging his head against a brick wall and would change course, but he won't. It's the literal definition of insanity, by doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That's Scott Carpenter. I think he's insane.
This is one that I captured at the feeding station. I think this is his fingers.
Due to circumstances beyond my control, I am unable to have a relationship with all 6 of my children. Well, for starters, number 1, birth control. Number 2, abortions work. And number 3, how about you quit this retarded Bigfoot bullshit and work on what's really important in your life? Your relationship with Travis, Miranda, Ryan, Brad, Katie, and Jack. They are what matter, not your imaginary Bigfoot forest friends that follow you around to the Piggly Wiggly. David Paulides and Steve Isdall are nothing. Your 6 kids are everything, Scott. Listen to me. Bigfoot's not real, but the potential for you to make things right with your children is real. However, since you are insane, you are too ignorant, stupid, and proud to realize what's really important here.
I've never hiked this part of it. I was just, it's Father's Day, and I thought that a couple hours this morning I'd hike around.
Now this is a direct message to Scott Carpenter. When you post things like this and allow your friends like Proud Boy Link Paul to post on your content that they want to shoot and kill people, you are condoning it. Chances are Link Paul would want to shoot and kill someone like me because I'm a gay man, an extreme liberal who proudly says Black Lives Matter. And Scott would allow Link Paul to threaten me because he allows this and condones this behavior. And he calls himself a Christian. Then Scott Carpenter does what all good Christians do and trans shames Rachel Levine. Rachel is the first openly trans American to serve as a federal public official. This is not how a follower of Christ behaves.
Okay. The first thought is shock. You can't believe it.
Amber Timmons' friends used elbow grease and Goo Gone to remove the black paint that had been sprayed on her car. A swastika, the words die and tranny dip were spray painted on the sides, and Trump was painted on the hood.
Do you think somebody felt emboldened by the election of Donald Trump? But considering that it had Trump all over my front hood, I think it's directly related.
Let me explain Christianity to you. I realize I'm a deviant homosexual in your eyes, but it's my job to remind you that Christianity is not a declaration or a tool.
Posted a heartbreaking suicide note to her Facebook page before walking into oncoming traffic. 26-year-old Ashley Hallstrom wrote, quote, "From a very young age, I was told that people like me are freaks and abominations, that we are sick in the head and society hates us. This made me hate who I was. I tried so hard to be just like everyone else, but this isn't something you can change. I can't stand to live another day, so I'm committing suicide."
Christianity is not a declaration or a tool. It's a practice. And like with everything else you're doing in life, you're failing at it, man. Let's look at what you let Link Paul post on your social media posts, trans-shaming Rachel Levine. I don't give a damn who you are or how sensitive you are. That human piece of shut, he meant to say shit, should be arrested and shot. This is why society is perverted and out of control. These nasty people pervert everything that is good, moral, pure, and true. This is evil manifest. That's a reflection on you, Scott Carpenter, because you allowed that comment to stay on your post. And on top of that, Scott Carpenter is promoting the Proud Boys. Then Scott's Proud Boy buddy Link Paul posts that things should be shot before it takes someone's children. And yet, once again, Scott Carpenter does nothing about it. He doesn't admonish him or delete the comment. He endorses it. He gives it a platform. I think it's safe to say, Scott Carpenter, you don't know Jesus. You're a fraud in every sense of the word.
God bless you.
Men like Scott Carpenter may be good people deep down, somewhere. However, he lives in a state of denial, abnegation, and misguided passion. I have no doubt Scott thinks he is seeing Bigfoot everywhere. He's cross-eyed. You would see Bigfoot everywhere too. He has no cognitive capabilities or opinions of his own, but he also hoaxes. He wants to maintain his inclusion with the people he thinks are the cool kids. There's nothing wrong with being a conservative or a liberal, but there is something wrong with you when you're a Trumper. For example,
but anthropologist Kathy Strain says that in this case, size does matter.
Bigfoot television personality Kathy Strain. She is a proud Christian woman, archaeologist, and conservative. She's not a Trumper. Be like her. If you think you're Christian and suffering from some kind of cognitive dissonance, talk to her. Ask her, what would Jesus do? She would tell you, and you better listen. And when she lays it all out on the ground, even this card-carrying Antifa member can't disagree with her. Now, before my little Squatch monster, Sam Deloach, asks me, how does all of this have to do with Bigfoot? Scott Carpenter incorporates this MAGA QAnon terrorism in his videos.
As the liberal cities are burning.
It's our cities, because it's our country, you civics class reject.
And so...
Hey, dipshit, you forgot your hat.
It's like those paranormal researchers. You may bring something back home with you that you don't want home to bring home.
Yeah, like the Department of Justice or the FBI. Let's raise it up a notch. I will tell you how all of this matters. These men like Scott Carpenter, Steve Isdall, Marlon Keith Davis, and David Paulides are social media influencers in this dumpster fire known as Bigfoot. When all you have is someone's word, since there's no Bigfoot, you need to be aware of where they are coming from, what their belief systems are, and if science is their real goal or their personal agenda. Not being science.
What are these people up to? Why are they doing this?
I understand Scott's anger with politics. He's mad. His choice for leadership didn't remain in office, and he feels his belief systems are being attacked. But Scott's social media posts are unacceptable. As an influencer, you see, Scott Carpenter, he writes books. As bad as they are, he speaks at Bigfoot conferences and makes YouTube videos that get thousands of views. That is what is called a social media influencer. Posting COVID disinformation is dangerous. Siding with domestic terrorists is treasonous. Condoning the shooting of other Americans is despicable. All this being under the protective umbrella of being a Christian. He's more like an extreme biblical fundamentalist. And he would say he was. He's not a run-of-the-mill Christian. Where is his balance? Where is his peace? Allow me to give it to you from another perspective. Bigfoot fanboys put up Dr. Jane Goodall on a pedestal because she is hopeful that Bigfoot is real. What if she was associating with political extremists and was letting them post on her social media that trans people should be shot and killed? What if she was posting on her social media that she was cheering on the insurrectionists and supporting domestic terrorism? The difference between Jane Goodall and Scott Carpenter is she has an education and common sense. She doesn't share her personal beliefs online that could potentially damage her reputation. She, like Carpenter, writes books, speaks at conferences, and has a YouTube channel. What is sad is, Scott Carpenter has 20,000 more YouTube subscribers than Jane Goodall. Let that sink in. No! Does Scott Carpenter want to be a researcher or a social media content creator? He can't be both. His religious and political views put him in a narrow box, and he can't look at anything objectively. That's the problem here.
Those are the facts.
Scott, those were your J6 patriots, not actors or Antifa. You wanted the insurrection to happen based on what you were posting on Facebook. Take a look at this post where he called Vice President Pence a traitor. This is it, folks. Pence and follow Trump. Patriots, get ready. January 6th. Then he posted, Patriots occupy the Capitol building. Then this MAGA idiot backpedaled and called his own patriots Antifa members. I don't understand how you can claim you want the insurrection and then claim it's Antifa. You got what you wanted. Those weren't patriots. They were traitors. Your flock are terrorists. You wanted this. How can you be so stupid and brainwashed? And you want us to take your Bigfoot bullshit seriously? Under what pretense? At one time, I was mad at Facebook when they censored me for a whole month, 2 years ago. My nose was bent out of shape. Ooh, I was mad. But I realized it wasn't censorship because I wasn't standing on a street corner. I was using a private company service that has their own established community guidelines that I needed to adhere to while using their product. It's called capitalism. Do you understand your First Amendment rights? They only apply within certain perimeters. Once you realize that, maybe you can explain this to double penetration David Paulides and Russell Twat Accord as well.
Don't tell me something about pareidolia that's not true, because I've already done the research. I can guarantee to you there's not going to be any censorship.
Scott, it's easier to get the approval from complete strangers. These people like Steve and David are your YouTube family, a substitute for what really matters. You have now become your support group, when you should have already had that with your family.
The other was Steve Ishdahl, and he rubbed some people the wrong way. And he's direct, blunt, and so, you know, that's just the way he is, and I like him.
Why can't you maintain a relationship? Why won't you fix your estranged relationship with your children? Because that takes work, and you have no discipline. Since I'm leaving Bigfoot, I really want you to take what I'm saying to heart, especially since you've been played so well by Melba Ketchum, David Paulides, and Steve Ishdahl. In fact, you regurgitate their own points of view.
To him, a lot of it doesn't make any sense. To him, what makes sense is these things are real, they exist, and there are people that are having encounters with them. They're having life-changing encounters with this being, and it's really upsetting their life. It's giving them emotional problems, it's giving them, you know, PTSD, whatever you want to call it. But they're, you know, these people need help.
Scott, you're going to be ashamed of how you look when you look back at all your content. It's like you've got something to prove, and the only thing you have proven is that you're someone else's fool. I feel sorry for you, man. You're never going to amount to be something more. I don't doubt that Scott Carpenter loves our country, and I think he has great pride in being an American. After all, he served in the Air Force. I'm a proud American too. However, I know a false prophet when I see one, hence Donald Treasonous Trump. And like Trump, Scott Carpenter is a failure at many things. Maybe that's why he pushes all that Bigfoot ballyhoo so hard, because there's no checks and balances. There's no one to hold him accountable. A failure being a global embarrassment by putting your hoaxed Dogman video on a television show. Ding Dong here posted his excitement on Facebook. I will be on the History Channel show, The Proof Is Out There, featuring my Dogman footage.
There are these things out here, and you're in harm's way.
Scott Carpenter is worried that Bigfoot and the Dogman are harming people when he is the one doing the harming. The History Channel investigative show, The Proof Is Out There, kind of reminds me of, like, you know, 2020 meets TMZ. And with Scott Carpenter being on the show...
Scott Carpenter, a systems administrator for a small software company in East Tennessee, is conducting Bigfoot research in his spare time.
Scott Carpenter's manufactured video and bullshit evidence will now be used by any authority to discredit Bigfoot videos of anyone else that provides their own video evidence. Way to go. That not only destroys your reputation, but it makes you another Rick Dyer. Congratulations! You made it on television, Scott, just like what every other Bigfooter wants to achieve.
It's a tough angle, but look at the upper left corner of the screen.
You think you've done something with your life? By manipulating good people, no matter the cost, even the cost of your own integrity, which doesn't matter because you made it on TV, just like every other hoaxer has done. We live in a post-shame society.
Information may have been added to make something look subjectively better, but not objectively accurate.
Scott Carpenter is so desperate for recognition that he doesn't see his crap is hurting viewers. Because if the TV audience believes in Bigfoot or Dogman, the fact that Scott Carpenter is so easily discredited on a national TV show, it will then reflect on your beliefs in the paranormal. Meaning, Scott has single-handedly added more fire to ruining the possibility of Dogman and Bigfoot being real. He is now nationally known as a hoaxer, like Mark Argusa's 2007 Dogman hoax.
Based on the analysis that I've performed, I cannot authenticate these images, and I'm concerned about the opportunity to manipulate these pixels to represent something that wasn't originally recorded.
The only way to get people in Bigfoot to stop holding these frauds up as authorities is to walk away from them when it's been proven that they are hoaxers, liars. Let me give it to you this way. If people continually get caught hoaxing, it destroys Bigfoot and the possibility of any real eyewitness encounters. At this point, Bigfoot will never be taken seriously because of men like Scott Carpenter.
The video, I don't believe, shows a Dogman because it would have tried to run Scott out of the area.
If you hoax and it gets national attention like Rick Dyer did in 2007, you now know why your spouse or coworker won't believe you about Bigfoot, because this is what they see. Hoaxers always get caught in the end, unless they die early, like Roger Patterson did.
Since Scott Carpenter's enhanced videos cannot be considered reliable evidence,
but when the show aired, Forrest Gump had this to say on Facebook. The proof is out there. Producers and crew apparently do not know what they are doing and are a poor excuse for a show. They did not even show the Dogman. And then he went on to say, the producers and crew are and were extremely dishonest in the analysis and conclusion. So not only does he get banned on Twitter, gets fact-checked by Facebook, he also gets fact-checked by educated people on a TV show analyzing his fecal surprise.
The movement caught my eye.
That's no movement. It's a bowel movement. Here's my last thought on Scott Carpenter being exposed on television. To have a TV host come out and definitely say it's a hoax is embarrassing and rare.
we are going to have to conclude this is a hoax.
Sasquatch research is not something you need to do.
Amen. Finally, something I can agree with. At the end of the day, I know that posting false information online is dangerous and says more about me than the content itself. And if you're going to be posting false and misleading information, what does that say about you and your Bigfoot evidence?
I ain't in this thing to make friends.
On the next Off the Rictor.
So my video response to Scott Carpenter started off as a small trash can that quickly turned into a big city dump. Oh. So that forced me to postpone our favorite Vermont Bigfoot hoaxer, Christopher Noel, to the finale. Bless his heart. He of course thinks he filmed a Bigfoot.
Hello?
Shh, don't tell him, but it's a porcupine.
Just staring right out at me. Not bolting like a bear cub, say, would do.
Hello? Oh, honey. Bigfoot's not real. But porcupines are, so be sure to subscribe. Tell me down below who you want to be the winner of this season's Hall of Shame Award, and share my video. The next show is the very last one. Are you sad?
Mm-hmm.